Watch your life change when you focus solely on yourself. Modern Stoicism. Let's get real for a second. The world doesn't care if you become your best self. Society is built to keep you distracted, drained, and chasing things that have no real meaning. Your attention? They want to hijack it. Your energy? They'll leech it. Your time? They'll steal it before you even notice. But here's the undeniable truth. The more you prioritize external validation over your own self-mastery, the more powerless you become. The moment you shift your focus inward, fully committing to your own growth, is the moment you become unstoppable. Welcome to Stoic Secrets, where we embrace reality instead of running from it. If you're ready to reclaim your life, comment below. My mind is my fortress. Now, let's get into it. Number 1. Why you must prioritize yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the value of his ambitions." But let's reflect on this. If your ambitions are dictated by others, society, family, or the expectations of those who barely know you, what does that say about your intrinsic worth? Many people are trapped in an invisible cage, endlessly seeking approval, performing for an audience that does not even care. They work tirelessly at jobs they despise, buy things they don't need, all in the pursuit of a validation that vanishes the moment they attain it. This is not life. This is servitude under the illusion of belonging. A fundamental Stoic secret is understanding that you alone hold the power over your own mind. Epictetus reminds us, man is disturbed not by things, but by the view he takes of them. If you constantly shape your actions to please others, you surrender your autonomy. Narcissists, whether they be in your workplace, your family, or social circles, thrive on controlling those who seek their approval. They manipulate through guilt, fear, and obligation, pulling you into their orbit until you lose sight of your own needs. But the iron mind of a Stoic refuses to play this game. You are not here to be someone's pawn. You are here to cultivate strength, wisdom, and self-mastery. When you make yourself the priority, the entire game changes. You stop being a puppet, constantly swayed by the moods and whims of others. You stop apologizing for having boundaries, for choosing your own well-being over endless sacrifice. And, paradoxically, when you stand firm, when you refuse to be manipulated, people start respecting you more. Seneca warns us against those who take without giving. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. The people in your life should lift you up, not drain you. The Stoic rules for dealing with toxic personalities are simple. Set your standards, enforce your boundaries, and never, ever feel guilty for protecting your peace. To truly embrace modern Stoicism, practice detachment from external validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A narcissist will bait you, provoke reactions, and test your limits. But a Stoic does not react impulsively. Instead, you observe, you assess, and you decide. Does this serve my peace, my growth, my virtue? If not, you let it go, not with anger, but with indifference. There is no need for confrontation, no need to prove anything. The iron mind does not seek revenge, it seeks freedom. So ask yourself, who are you living for? Are you the author of your own destiny, or merely a character in someone else's script? This is the moment of reckoning. Choose yourself, not in selfishness, but in strength, not in arrogance, but in wisdom. The world respects those who respect themselves first. The Stoic rules are clear. Do not seek validation. Do not chase approval. Do not let others define your worth. If this resonates with you, drop a comment below. I choose myself. Because in the end, if you don't, no one else will. Number 2, stop chasing external validation. Most people spend their entire lives trapped in an exhausting cycle, adjusting their words, their actions, and even their dreams just to gain approval. They sculpt themselves into what they think the world wants, only to find that no matter how much they bend, someone will always have something to say. If you strive for perfection, they'll call you fake. If you embrace your flaws, they'll call you weak. If you succeed, they'll say you were lucky, and if you focus on yourself, they'll call you selfish. So why does their opinion matter? Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, taught that control is an illusion beyond the realm of your own mind. You cannot control what people think, how they perceive you, or the judgments they make. The only things you have true power over are your thoughts, actions, and responses. And yet, most people surrender this power, allowing external validation to dictate their sense of self-worth. But why? Why is validation so addictive? At its core, the need for approval stems from insecurity. People who don't trust their own judgment seek assurance from others. They become like beggars, dependent on scraps of praise to feel worthy. The more they chase it, the weaker they become. In contrast, those who embrace Stoicism realize a fundamental truth: your value is not determined by others, it is determined by you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Consider a young artist named Jake. He had a gift for painting, but instead of creating what spoke to him, he constantly sought approval. He painted what was trendy, what was marketable, always chasing validation from galleries and social media. Every criticism felt like a dagger, every rejection like a death sentence. But one day he came across a quote by Seneca: "If you live according to nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to opinion, you will never be rich." He realized that he had been painting for others, not for himself. So he made a radical change. He stopped caring about trends, stopped worrying about likes and commissions. He painted what he loved. Ironically, the moment he stopped chasing approval was the moment people started noticing him. His confidence, his authenticity, his unshakable sense of self, it drew people in. But by then he no longer needed their approval. He had already won the battle within himself. Dark psychology tells us a powerful truth. The moment you stop seeking validation, you become untouchable. You are no longer controlled by social pressure, guilt, or the need to fit in. The paradox is that when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you no longer react to petty opinions, people respect you more. They sense that they cannot manipulate you, and that in itself is power. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, "What will they say?" stop. Remind yourself, it doesn't matter. Their words won't change your reality. Their opinions won't shape your destiny. Their approval won't bring you fulfillment. All that matters is how you see yourself. Are you proud of the choices you've made? Are you living by your values? Are you at peace with yourself? If you're ready to take back control, to free yourself from the shackles of validation, say it with conviction: my mind belongs to me. Because once you truly believe that, nothing, no judgment, no opinion, no fleeting praise can ever shake you again. That is the essence of Stoicism. That is true freedom. Number 3. How people manipulate your focus. Have you ever stopped to wonder who's really in control of your life? You might think that you are, that your decisions, emotions and desires are yours alone. But the truth is, most people are unknowingly led by others, manipulated into living a life that serves someone else's interests. And this is where dark psychology enters the picture. We live in a world filled with distractions, with people who benefit from keeping you unfocused, friends who guilt-trip you, bosses who exploit your ambition, social media algorithms that hijack your attention. They don't want you to focus on yourself. Why? Because the more distracted you are, the easier you are to manipulate. But if you truly embrace Stoic principles, you will learn to reclaim your autonomy. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. The question is, will you?" Let's break it down. Here are 3 powerful tactics manipulators use to drain your energy and keep you from leveling up, and how you can stop them. 1. The guilt trap. Ever noticed how certain people suddenly act hurt or disappointed the moment you start setting boundaries? It's not a coincidence. It's a manipulation tactic. They want you to feel guilty for choosing yourself so that you remain trapped in their expectations. But here's the truth. You owe no one an explanation for prioritizing your own growth. A Stoic understands that guilt is only a weapon if you allow it to be. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, famously said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." The moment you stop reacting to guilt tactics, their power over you crumbles. Think about it. How often do you make choices based on guilt rather than genuine desire? 2. The scarcity illusion. Toxic people will make you believe that if you walk away, you'll be alone, that if you cut ties, you'll regret it, that if you stop chasing them, you'll lose something invaluable. But the reality is, those who manipulate you need you far more than you need them. They create an illusion that they are irreplaceable, when in fact, they are not. When you recognize your own worth, when you stop clinging to the fear of loss, you become uncontrollable. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." When you let go of people who do not serve your highest self, you free yourself to grow into someone who is truly untouchable. Ask yourself, who in your life makes you feel like they're your only option? And what would happen if you chose yourself instead? 3. The attention hijack. How much of your time do you waste on meaningless distractions? Gossip, arguments, trivial drama. Every moment you engage in these, you are playing into the hands of those who want to keep you small. Attention is the currency of power. Where you direct it determines whether you thrive or stay stagnant. So the next time someone tries to drag you into pointless distractions, ask yourself, is this helping me grow, or is this stealing my focus? This is why the greatest Stoic minds, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, preached the power of solitude and self-mastery. A focused mind is an unbreakable mind. If you've ever felt like people are pulling you in 1,000 directions, draining you, distracting you, it's time to reclaim your power. Stop reacting, stop explaining, stop justifying your choices to those who never had your best interests at heart. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." From this moment on, choose yourself. Focus on what is within your control, your thoughts, your actions, your growth, because when you do, you become someone who cannot be manipulated, cannot be controlled. You become free. Comment below, I refuse to be controlled, because the moment you break free from these manipulation tactics, the only thing left is absolute freedom. So tell me, are you ready to take back control of your life? If you've watched up to this point, you're already taking the first step toward a powerful transformation, focusing on yourself. Drop a comment with Stoic Focus to affirm your commitment to self-mastery. But don't stop here. There's more wisdom ahead that could shift your entire perspective. Stay until the end and unlock the keys to true inner strength and freedom. Number 4. The power of emotional detachment. The power of emotional detachment is one of the greatest Stoic secrets, a foundation of modern Stoicism that turns an individual into an unshakable force. The moment you free yourself from the grip of emotional reactions, you become untouchable, not in a way that makes you cold or indifferent to life, but in a way that shields you from being controlled by the opinions, actions, or manipulations of others. This is what having an iron mind truly means. You dictate your responses, you master your emotions, and in doing so, you gain complete power over yourself. Think about how often you have allowed someone else's words to dictate your mood, how frequently you have exhausted yourself worrying about things outside of your control. The world thrives on provocation. It constantly seeks a reaction, aiming to pull you into emotional turmoil. But here is one of the core Stoic rules. Indifference is strength. Most people remain emotionally fragile because they invest too much in what does not serve them, seeking approval, clinging to expectations, and reacting to negativity. But a person who embraces emotional detachment, who follows the Stoic way, becomes unbreakable. When insults, rejections, or petty conflicts arise, the detached individual remains centered, while those attempting to provoke them grow frustrated. The paradox is clear. The less you react, the more powerful you appear. True control is not about overpowering others, it is about mastering yourself. A Stoic mind understands that life is filled with unpredictable forces, but what matters is how you choose to respond. To develop this unshakable emotional detachment, you must commit to the following Stoic practices. First, detach from approval. Understand that people's opinions do not alter reality, and their validation is not required for you to move forward. Second, detach from outcomes. Focus on effort, not results, as you can only control your actions, not how they are received. Third, detach from negativity. When faced with hostility or provocation, remain still and composed, knowing that a reaction is what they crave. Finally, detach from drama. Do not waste your mental energy on gossip, unnecessary arguments, or trivial distractions. Your mind is a fortress. Guard it. Indifference does not mean apathy. It means discernment. It means focusing only on what truly matters, filtering out the noise, and maintaining clarity in a chaotic world. The next time someone attempts to provoke you, remind yourself, an iron mind does not bend to external forces. A Stoic remains unmoved, like a mountain that does not yield to the wind or the storm. Stay calm, stay composed, stay in control. If you are ready to master emotional detachment and unlock the full potential of modern Stoicism, affirm it now. I control my mind. Because the moment you embrace this, no one, not a critic, an enemy, or an obstacle, will ever break you again. Number 5. The path to ultimate freedom. At the heart of everything, the ultimate pursuit is freedom. True freedom. The ability to think for yourself, to move through life without fear, to remain the master of your own mind, your emotions, and your destiny. This is the essence of Stoic principles, and yet most people will never experience it. They are trapped, not by chains, but by invisible forces. Toxic relationships that drain them, self-doubt that paralyzes them, and the relentless need for approval from others. They chase distractions, they pursue material success, they seek validation, and all the while their time, the one resource they cannot reclaim, slips away. By the time they realize the futility of these pursuits, it is often too late. But you have a choice. You can either follow the same path as the masses, reactive, dependent, at the mercy of circumstances, or you can take control. You can focus solely on yourself, on mastering your own mind and creating the life you were meant to live. Think about that for a moment. How often do you surrender your peace of mind to the opinions of others? How often do you let your emotions be dictated by external circumstances rather than your own will? The truth is, real freedom is not found in wealth, status, or recognition. It is found in detachment from these things. The modern world conditions you to believe that your happiness lies outside of you, that it depends on how much you own, how many people admire you, how well you fit in. But the Stoics knew better. They understood that the only thing truly within your control is your mind. And yet, how many of us are truly the masters of ourselves? How many of us are ruled by impulse, by fear, by the endless cycle of desire and disappointment? What would happen if instead you redirected all that energy inward? If, instead of seeking approval, you sought wisdom? If, instead of reacting, you responded with intention? You see, when you focus solely on yourself, something remarkable happens. Life begins to change. You stop caring about things that don't matter. You stop being a prisoner of your emotions. You stop wasting time on people who don't value you. And in that space, in that clarity, you find peace. Epictetus taught, if you wish to be free, do not wish for anything that depends on another. True freedom means letting go of the need to control what is beyond you and mastering what is within. It means cultivating discipline, practicing resilience, and aligning your actions with reason rather than impulse. So ask yourself, are you living a life that is truly yours, or are you merely reacting to the expectations and judgments of others? Are you spending your days in pursuit of things that bring you lasting fulfillment, or are you caught in the endless cycle of temporary pleasures and external validation? The moment you begin to focus solely on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a self-sufficient way, is the moment everything changes. Because when you no longer need the world's approval, when you no longer fear loss, when you no longer depend on anything outside of yourself for happiness, then and only then are you truly free. The path is yours to choose. The question is, will you take it? Number 6. True confidence comes from within. True confidence is not a gift. It is not something you are born with, nor does it come from wealth, social status, or validation from others. True confidence is something you build, piece by piece, moment by moment. A Stoic understands this. External factors are fragile, fleeting, and unreliable. What happens when you lose your job, your looks fade, or people no longer admire you? If your confidence is tied to these things, it crumbles the moment they disappear. That is why so many people today feel anxious and lost, because they have built their self-worth on things outside of their control. Seneca once wrote, "No man is crushed by fortune unless he has first been deceived by her." In other words, the only way you become shattered by life is if you foolishly put your trust in things that were never truly yours. And yet, that is exactly what most people do. They seek confidence in social approval, in the size of their bank account, in how others perceive them. But what happens when these things are threatened? Fear, insecurity, and self-doubt consume them. But the Stoic mind, the unshakable mind, that is different. That is built from the inside out. It is not about proving anything to anyone, but about knowing who you are and being firm in that truth. A Stoic does not seek applause because he understands that external praise is empty. A Stoic does not fear criticism because he knows that the opinions of others are outside his control. And a Stoic does not fear failure because he sees failure as a lesson, not a judgment of his worth. There is a story of a young athlete who dreamed of becoming the greatest in his sport. Every day he trained relentlessly, pushing his body to the limit, but his motivation came from the wrong place. He wanted to prove his worth to others. He wanted recognition. And so, every time he lost, every time he made a mistake, he felt devastated. He felt like a failure. One day, after a crushing defeat, he met an old retired champion who asked him, "Why do you fight?" The young athlete hesitated before admitting, "Because I want to be the best. I want people to respect me." The old man shook his head. "Then you will always be a slave to their opinions. You will never be free." The old champion explained that true mastery does not come from competing for validation. It comes from competing against yourself. It comes from the discipline to improve, regardless of who is watching. It comes from finding joy in the work itself, not just the reward. The young athlete took this to heart. From that day forward, he no longer trained to impress others. He trained to better himself. And with that shift in mindset, he became unstoppable. Not because he never lost, but because he was no longer defined by his wins and losses. He had built something that could not be taken away: inner confidence. So, ask yourself, what are you relying on for your confidence? Are you building it on something permanent or on something that can disappear overnight? Would you still feel secure in yourself if you lost your money, your status, or your reputation? If the answer is no, then you are standing on weak ground. The Stoic lesson here is clear. True confidence comes from knowing that you control your mind, your choices, and your perspective. Nothing else. Your confidence must be rooted in your principles, in your discipline, in your ability to face hardship with courage. The world will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path. But if you build yourself from within, nothing, no rejection, no failure, no hardship will have the power to break you. The next time you feel insecure, the next time you doubt yourself, stop and ask, am I basing my confidence on something external or something unshakable? Because if it is external, it can be taken. But if it is internal, if it is built on a foundation of self-awareness, resilience, and discipline, then no one and nothing can take it from you. And that is true confidence. That is the unshakable mindset. Number 7. Why cutting people off is sometimes necessary. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay, and that is a truth you must embrace if you want to live by the principles of modern Stoicism. Some people act as anchors, weighing you down, keeping you trapped in a cycle of stagnation. Others are distractions, flooding your mind with doubt, drama, and negativity. And some? They are parasites, feeding off your energy without giving anything in return. To build an iron mind, you must recognize when someone no longer serves your growth and have the courage to walk away. Many fail to do this, held back by fear, fear of loneliness, fear of confrontation, fear of guilt. But by staying in these relationships, they remain stuck, drained, and unfulfilled. A Stoic understands that detachment is necessary for evolution. Seneca wisely advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you," and the deeper unspoken truth behind this is clear. If someone hinders your progress, you must let them go. It's not an act of cruelty, it's an act of self-respect. The Stoic secrets to a strong and peaceful life lie in the ability to discern when to hold on and when to release. If a relationship constantly drains your energy, leaving you mentally and emotionally exhausted, it is not a relationship worth maintaining. If someone mocks your ambitions, downplays your growth, or resents your progress, they are not a friend. They are an obstacle. If they manipulate you with guilt whenever you try to set boundaries, they are not acting out of love but control. And if all they bring into your life is negativity, gossip, and excuses, it is only a matter of time before their toxic energy seeps into your own mindset. A real friend wants to see you thrive. A fake one secretly resents your elevation. And once you accept this truth, you unlock a new level of power, one that few ever reach. Cutting people off does not mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to protect your peace. It means you respect your time, your energy, and your clarity of mind. And when you make this choice, something remarkable happens. You start to attract better people. Those who match your energy, who share your standards, who push you to be better instead of holding you back. Because when you stop forcing connections, the right ones will come effortlessly. The weak cling to toxic relationships out of fear, while the strong walk away without hesitation. To live by Stoic rules, you must master the art of detachment. This doesn't mean you lack empathy. It means you have wisdom. Your time is the most valuable asset you have, and wasting it on the wrong people only delays your journey towards self-mastery. Ask yourself, who in your life is no longer contributing to your growth? Who needs to go? And most importantly, do you have the strength to let them go without looking back? If you do, you are already stepping into the next version of yourself, one that is free, focused, and unshakable. Comment below, "I release what no longer serves me," because once you make that choice, you begin living by the iron mind philosophy of true Stoicism, where you owe nothing to anyone except your highest self. Number 8. Why solitude makes you unstoppable. Silence and solitude are not things to be feared, they are tools that can make you unstoppable. In a world drowning in noise, endless notifications, constant chatter, and superficial distractions, most people never sit alone with their thoughts. They run from silence because deep down they are afraid of what they might discover about themselves. But a true Stoic understands that solitude is not loneliness, it is power. It is in these moments of stillness that the mind sharpens, clarity emerges, and self-mastery takes root. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and ruler of an empire, often retreated into his own mind through journaling. His meditations were not just personal reflections, they were a means to refine his perspective, to strip away illusions, and to strengthen his inner fortress. Seneca, too, advocated for solitude, believing that only in moments of still reflection can one truly know oneself. And Epictetus reminded his students that true strength does not come from external circumstances, but from an unwavering inner foundation. Why does solitude make you stronger? because in silence you hear yourself more clearly. Without the distractions of the outside world, you begin to understand what truly matters, what is within your control, and what is merely noise. You become self-reliant. Most people depend on others for validation, entertainment, and even their identity. The Stoic, however, is complete within himself. You gain control over your emotions, as there is no one to provoke you, no external stimulus to dictate your reactions. The one who can sit in silence without discomfort is the one who has mastered his mind. And perhaps most importantly, solitude makes you formidable. The individual who moves in silence, who listens more than he speaks, commands an undeniable presence. A man who does not seek external validation, who does not rely on others for his sense of self-worth, is a man who cannot be controlled. The world will tell you that you need constant engagement, that solitude is unnatural. But ask yourself who benefits from keeping you distracted. Those who cannot stand to be alone often seek to pull others into their noise. Why? Because a person comfortable in solitude, a person who does not crave external affirmation, is a person who cannot be manipulated. History has shown that the most powerful individuals understood this. They disappeared into silence, built themselves, and then emerged stronger, sharper, and untouchable. Consider this: in today's hyper-connected world, what would happen if you stepped away from the noise? If, instead of filling every free moment with scrolling, chatting, or consuming endless content, you sat in silence? What would you discover about yourself? What weaknesses would you uncover? What strengths would you refine? Take the story of a modern entrepreneur. Let's call him James. At one point, James was overwhelmed. His days were filled with meetings, notifications, and the constant need to be plugged in. But he was going nowhere, reacting instead of leading. He decided to implement a practice of daily solitude, an hour each morning, without his phone, without emails, just sitting with his thoughts and journaling. At first, the silence was deafening, but over time he found clarity. He made better decisions. His business flourished, not because he worked harder, but because he worked with intention. He realized that his true power lay not in his ability to be constantly connected, but in his ability to disconnect and think deeply. The lesson is clear: solitude is not a weakness, it is a strength. It is in the stillness that you hear your own voice. It is in the quiet that you find your path. Those who fear solitude are not afraid of being alone, they are afraid of facing themselves. But once you embrace solitude, you become unstoppable. So now, ask yourself, are you comfortable being alone with your thoughts? Or have you been running from them? If you understand this lesson, if you see the power in silence, then take a step today. Carve out time for solitude, even if it's just a few minutes. Because the more you cultivate this practice, the stronger you become. And when the world around you is consumed by noise, you will stand unshaken, moving with quiet confidence, while others scramble for external validation. A true Stoic thrives in silence. Do you? Number 9. Discipline over distraction. In today's world, most people are enslaved, not by chains, but by their own impulses. They wake up, reach for their phones, and scroll mindlessly, chasing fleeting pleasures that only leave them feeling lost and powerless. But a Stoic understands that real freedom comes from self-mastery. If you lack control over your emotions, actions, and desires, you are not in command of your own life. You are at the mercy of distractions, fleeting emotions, and external forces designed to manipulate you. And make no mistake, distraction is the enemy. social media, endless entertainment, and cheap dopamine hits are engineered to keep you weak, passive, and unfocused. The modern world doesn't want you to think critically. It wants you to consume mindlessly. Every moment you spend indulging in distractions is a moment you surrender your agency, your potential, your very life force. Strength isn't found in comfort, it's found in discipline. It's in the moments where you resist temptation, silence distractions, and commit yourself to the work that matters. So how do you build unshakable discipline? The Stoic way is simple but demanding. First, train yourself to resist comfort. The more you seek ease, the weaker you become. Challenge yourself daily, whether it's waking up early, working out, or tackling difficult tasks head-on. Growth happens in discomfort. Second, limit your inputs. The more noise you let in, the less control you have. Be ruthless with your attention. Avoid mindless scrolling and cut out negativity. Third, guard your time like the precious resource it is. Seneca warns us, people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Every wasted moment is a step toward mediocrity. Fourth, act. Don't overthink. Most people hesitate, plan endlessly, but never execute. A Stoic moves with intention. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Lastly, detach from the outcome. True discipline isn't about results, it's about the process. Do the work, show up every day, and trust that success will follow. The truth is simple. A man who controls himself controls his destiny. A man who lacks control, he is controlled by everything around him. So the question is, who do you want to be? Are you willing to take back control of your mind, your focus, your life? Will you choose discipline over comfort, purpose over distraction, and wisdom over indulgence? Because once you make that choice, everything changes. Now, tell me, are you ready to live like a true Stoic? If so, take the first step today. Let go of distractions, reclaim your time, and master yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing you truly own. Exercises to help you focus on yourself and develop a Stoic mindset. In today's distraction-filled world, if you don't control your focus, someone else will. Stoicism teaches us how to turn inward, master our emotions, and build an unshakable mindset. Here are 7 practical exercises to help you train your focus, strengthen your mind, and fully commit to your personal growth. Number 1. No-tech morning routine. A no-tech morning routine isn't just about avoiding your phone, it's about reclaiming your mind before the world fills it with noise. In today's hyper-connected world, where notifications dictate our thoughts from the moment we wake, practicing a modern Stoicism approach can be transformative. The moment you wake up, your mind is at its most receptive. Allow yourself the first 30-60 minutes to be free from digital intrusions, giving your thoughts the space to settle, rather than reacting to an endless stream of stimuli. Instead of reaching for your phone, engage in activities that reinforce Stoic rules for mental discipline. Meditation, journaling, reading philosophy, or light exercise. Journaling, in particular, is a powerful tool for cultivating a Stoic mindset. Seneca advised in his letters to Lucilius, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Writing down your thoughts, fears, and goals in the morning helps you recognize which worries are within your control and which are merely illusions created by an undisciplined mind. This exercise fosters an iron mind, strengthening your ability to face challenges with reason and clarity. But why does this practice work? The answer lies in intentionality. When you wake up and immediately check your messages, news, or emails, you condition yourself to react rather than to act with purpose. This is the opposite of what Stoic secrets teach. Stoicism emphasizes control over one's responses to the world, not surrendering to external. Furthermore, in a world that constantly seeks to hijack your attention, cultivating a morning ritual devoid of distractions is an act of Stoic defiance. It allows you to ask yourself essential questions. What do I want from today? What actions will bring me closer to my goals? These questions shape your mindset before external influences can dictate your mood, priorities, or concerns. To apply this principle effectively, create an environment that supports it. Charge your phone outside the bedroom to remove the temptation of scrolling before getting out of bed. Prepare a book or a journal at your bedside so that you have an alternative to turning on a screen. If you wake up with a restless mind, use breathing exercises or recite a Stoic affirmation to center yourself. Something as simple as, "I will not be shaken by what I cannot control." In modern life, where stress and anxiety are amplified by digital noise, embracing this simple Stoic rule can cultivate clarity and resilience. The first moments of your day are sacred. Protect them, and in doing so, you train your mind to be stronger than the distractions of the world. As Seneca reminds us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Start your day with purpose, and the rest will follow. Number 2, mental detox. Eliminate negativity. In a world overloaded with distractions, opinions, and an endless stream of digital noise, practicing a mental detox is not just beneficial, it's essential for a clear, focused, and self-directed life. The Stoics understood that the quality of our thoughts shapes our reality, and therefore they advocated for strict discipline over what we allow to influence our minds. In modern times, this principle is even more relevant. With technology constantly vying for our attention, the ability to filter what truly matters is a skill that must be honed deliberately. The goal of a mental detox is simple: to cut out the negativity that drains our energy and weakens our resolve, so we can cultivate inner peace and mental strength. The first step in this process is to reduce social media use. Not necessarily to abandon it entirely, but to engage with it more mindfully. Social media platforms are designed to capture and hold attention, often by amplifying negativity, sensationalism, and unrealistic comparisons. Every post, comment, and trending topic you consume has the potential to shape your mood and perspective. Ask yourself, is this content serving me? Is it helping me grow, stay informed in a balanced way, or cultivate wisdom? If not, it is merely noise, distraction disguised as connection. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, be intentional about who and what you follow. Choose sources that add value, inspire, or educate you. Even better, dedicate more time to reading works that encourage self-reflection, such as the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius or the Letters of Seneca, where timeless wisdom replaces the fleeting concerns of the digital age. Equally important is the practice of distancing yourself from toxic people. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mindset. If you frequently engage with individuals who complain, manipulate, or spread negativity, it is only natural that their influence seeps into your own way of thinking. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of self-preservation. The Stoics remind us that we should not be dependent on the moods and behaviors of others. Instead, we should cultivate our own inner strength so that external negativity cannot disrupt our peace. If someone in your life constantly brings stress or emotional turmoil, take a step back. This does not mean you must sever every connection, but rather be selective with your energy. Prioritize relationships that are reciprocal, uplifting, and aligned with your values. Another key aspect of mental detoxing is to limit exposure to negative news. We live in an era of instant information, where a constant cycle of alarming headlines competes for our attention. While it is responsible to stay informed, it is also wise to recognize the limits of our control. The Stoics taught that we should not waste mental energy on things beyond our power. Watching or reading excessive negative news, especially when it fuels fear, outrage, or helplessness, achieves nothing but internal turmoil. Instead, shift your focus toward what you can influence: your actions, your mindset, and your daily habits. If something is within your ability to change, take action. If not, learn to let go of unnecessary worry and anxiety. Choose news sources that provide balanced, factual reporting, and set specific times to check updates, rather than allowing an endless feed of distressing headlines to dictate your mental state. Why does this work? Because the less negativity you consume, the more space you create for clarity, focus, and self-improvement. Your mental energy is limited. Spending it wisely means directing it toward things that strengthen you rather than deplete you. A mind filled with unnecessary noise struggles to function optimally, while a mind free from clutter is sharp, calm, and capable of deeper thought. The Stoics believed that we must cultivate a fortress within ourselves, a mental space that is undisturbed by external chaos. The modern equivalent of this is learning to control what enters our mental world and being intentional with where we direct our attention. If you want to live with greater focus, resilience, and purpose, begin with a mental detox. Reduce mindless consumption of media, cut ties with sources of negativity, and redirect your energy toward what truly matters. Every day presents a choice: to be a passive receiver of external influences or an active creator of your own mental state. Choose wisely, and you will find that true peace and strength come not from external circumstances, but from the mastery of your own mind. You've made it this far, which means you're serious about transforming your life through self-mastery. Type Stoic Mindset in the comments to solidify your commitment. And don't go anywhere. The insights ahead could be the breakthrough you've been searching for. Number 3. Full penance exercise. The essence of the full presence exercise in cultivating a Stoic mindset is about learning to control your attention and direct it fully to the task at hand, an idea deeply embedded in Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often emphasized the importance of being present in every moment, noting that a well-lived life is merely the sum of well-lived present moments. Similarly, Epictetus taught that true mastery over life begins with mastering one's own mind, training it to engage fully in the here and now, rather than being distracted by the past or future. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions are abundant and multitasking is glorified, many people find themselves mentally scattered, unable to fully engage with their experiences. But true fulfillment, according to Stoic lessons, does not come from doing more, but from being fully present in what you are doing. When you eat, eat with intention. Savor the taste, feel the texture, acknowledge the nourishment it provides. When you work, Give your complete focus to the task rather than jumping between emails, social media, and half-done projects. When you exercise, feel your breath, your movement, the rhythm of your steps, and how your body responds. If your mind drifts, as it inevitably will, gently bring it back to the moment without self-criticism. This act of bringing your attention back, again and again, is the real practice. Why does this matter? Because presence is power. A scattered mind leads to stress, dissatisfaction, and a sense of never truly being here. But a focused mind, rooted in the present, is free from regret over the past and anxiety about the future. This aligns with Seneca's wisdom, where he warned against being a slave to tomorrow and instead urged people to own their present moment. By training yourself to be fully engaged in one thing at a time, you will notice an improvement in your ability to concentrate, make better decisions, and find deeper satisfaction in everyday activities. Modern psychology supports this Stoic insight. Research has shown that people are happiest when they are fully engaged in what they are doing, regardless of the activity. In contrast, when the mind wanders, people tend to feel less happy, even if their thoughts are neutral or pleasant. This underscores the Stoic belief that contentment is not about what happens to us, but how we choose to experience it. Practicing full presence also strengthens self-discipline, a core Stoic virtue. In a world designed to steal your attention, the ability to control where you direct your focus is an act of resistance against external chaos. It is a way of reclaiming your mind from the distractions that keep you from living a deliberate and meaningful life. So, next time you find yourself reaching for your phone during a meal, scrolling through notifications in the middle of a task, or thinking about tomorrow's to-do list while engaged in a conversation, pause. Remind yourself that the only moment you ever truly own is this one. Anchor yourself in it. Live it fully. This is not just a practice for productivity, it is a Stoic way of life, one that leads to clarity, peace, and profound inner strength. Number 4, Stoic Journal, self-reflection writing. Let's talk about one of the most powerful yet underrated practices in cultivating a Stoic mindset. Stoic journaling. You might wonder, why should I bother writing things down? Why does it matter? The truth is, our minds are constantly bombarded with emotions, distractions, and impulsive thoughts. If we don't take the time to reflect, how can we ever hope to master ourselves? Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, left us his Meditations, a collection of personal reflections never meant for anyone else's eyes. Yet through these pages we witness a man striving to align his actions with virtue, clarity, and resilience. If even an emperor found value in daily self-reflection, what does that tell us? Stoic journaling isn't just about putting words on paper. It's about training your mind to see things as they truly are, free from unnecessary fear, regret, or delusion. Every day, set aside just 10-15 minutes to write. Begin with gratitude. List 3 things you are truly grateful for. Not grand things like winning the lottery, but the simple, fundamental joys of life. The ability to breathe, a friend who listens, the opportunity to learn. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good exercise. It rewires your brain, shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already have. As Epictetus wisely put it, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Next, reflect on one lesson from yesterday. Life is constantly teaching us, if only we are willing to listen. Did you allow your emotions to dictate your reactions? Did you make a choice you're proud of? Every mistake, Every triumph holds wisdom. Write it down. Then, identify one thing you can improve. No matter how disciplined or aware you are, there is always something that can be refined. Maybe it's your patience with a difficult coworker. Maybe it's catching yourself before indulging in negative self-talk. The point isn't perfection, it's progress. Then ask yourself one deep, thought-provoking question, something that makes you pause and dig deeper. Questions like, did I let external events control my emotions today? If I knew I only had a year to live, how would I spend my time differently? Or perhaps one inspired by Seneca. Am I using my time wisely, or am I letting life slip through my fingers? These questions force you to confront yourself honestly, and that honesty is where real transformation begins. So why does this practice work? Why does simply writing these thoughts down have such an impact? Because self-awareness is the foundation of self-mastery. Without it, we drift through life on autopilot, reacting instead of acting, controlled by emotions instead of controlling them. Writing forces clarity. It makes vague worries concrete. It helps you recognize patterns. How often do you get angry over the same type of situation? How frequently do you procrastinate on things you claim to care about? But let me ask you this. How often do you actually pause and examine your thoughts? We spend so much time consuming information, reacting to the world and keeping busy. But how much time do we spend reflecting? If you don't take control of your mind, who will? If you don't choose the principles that guide your life, society, emotions, or chance will choose them for you. The Stoics knew that a well-examined life is a life of freedom. They understood that we cannot control everything, but we can always control how we respond. And the first step to that control? Awareness. So, here's my challenge for you. Tonight, before you go to bed, grab a notebook or open a blank document. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Reflect on one lesson from your day. Identify one thing you can improve. And ask yourself one deep question. Do it for a week. See what changes. Maybe you'll start noticing your reactions before they happen. Maybe you'll gain a sense of inner calm that wasn't there before. Maybe, just maybe, you'll begin to see the world and yourself with more clarity, strength, and purpose. Because in the end, isn't that what we're all striving for? Number 5. Emotional awareness training. In the realm of Stoicism, mastering one's emotions is a cornerstone of living a virtuous and composed life. The ability to recognize, understand, and regulate emotional responses is not about suppressing emotions, but about governing them with wisdom and intention. As Epictetus reminds us, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Emotional awareness training, therefore, is not simply an exercise in control. It is a pathway to freedom, allowing us to engage with the world without being dominated by fleeting impulses. A simple yet powerful technique to sharpen emotional self-awareness begins with a conscious pause, the crucial 5 seconds between a stimulus and a response. When faced with a triggering situation, take a deliberate pause and observe your emotions without immediate reaction. Ask yourself, where is this emotion coming from? Is it justified? Is it worthy of my energy? This self-inquiry distances you from impulsive reactions and puts you back in command of your responses. By questioning the origin and value of an emotion, you practice the Stoic principle of examining impressions before acting upon them. To further refine this practice, integrate the 4-4-4-4 breathing technique. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly for 4 seconds. This rhythmic breathing centers the mind, stabilizes physiological responses, and fosters a state of calm objectivity. By controlling your breath, you send a message to your nervous system that you are in control. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, writes, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than necessary." When we allow emotions to dictate our actions, we suffer needlessly. A composed mind, supported by conscious breathing, enables us to engage with challenges without losing inner equilibrium. Why does this practice work so effectively? Because it interrupts the automatic reaction cycle and creates space for rational thought. Neuroscience supports what the Stoics intuited centuries ago. Our prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational decision-making, can override the impulsive reactions of the amygdala when given even a few moments to engage. In modern life, where stress, digital distractions, and emotional reactivity are rampant, the ability to slow down and assess emotions is invaluable. Whether dealing with an argumentative colleague, an unexpected crisis, or personal setbacks, the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react rashly is a mark of wisdom. Moreover, this practice aligns with the Stoic dichotomy of control, which reminds us to separate what we can influence from what we cannot. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control your perception and reaction. This realization alone transforms frustration into tranquility. Instead of being swept away by anger, disappointment, or fear, you can view these emotions as mere signals rather than command. In practical terms, applying this training means becoming an observer of your emotions rather than a participant in their chaos. When anger arises, acknowledge it, but do not feed it. When sadness looms, sit with it, but do not let it cloud your perception of reality. When anxiety strikes, remind yourself that most fears are imagined rather than real. Detach, analyze, and choose a response that aligns with your higher self. To cultivate long-term emotional resilience, incorporate daily reflections, as Marcus Aurelius did. At the end of each day, reflect on moments when emotions challenged you. Ask yourself, did I act according to reason, or was I carried away by impulse? What could I have done differently? By reviewing these moments, you train yourself to become progressively more stoic in your approach to adversity. Ultimately, emotional awareness training is not about eliminating emotions, but about mastering their influence over you. A Stoic mind does not fear emotions. It observes them, understands them, and decides their rightful place in thought and action. Through pause, inquiry, breath, and reflection, you fortify your inner fortress, ensuring that no external event wields more power over you than your own reasoned judgment. And in that, you achieve true freedom. Thank you for watching and taking the first step toward mastering yourself. True transformation begins when you shift your focus inward, embrace discipline, and let go of what you cannot control. The Stoics knew this. Now, it's your turn to put it into action. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Secrets. And make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest insights on modern Stoicism. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, your power lies within. See you in the next one.